Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at something really cool. This right here is the Metal Robot Spirits version of the legendary Wing Gundam Zero, aka that absolutely awesome Gundam from one of the best Gundam openings ever, the second opening of Gundam Wing. Now, even to this day, I don't think there's many Gundam intros out there that top the majesty of how that begins, and the main reason that is so awesome is because of the Wing Zero right here. The way it opens up on the 5 Gundams dropping to Earth, changing to the Zero system, Hero Yui in the cockpit, and then that absolutely epic blast off. I've always wanted the perfect Wing Zero to, well, recreate the majesty and feeling of that opening, and so far, I haven't gotten it. When it comes to Gunpla, the high-grade kit is okay, it's a nice kit, but it just doesn't have the fire and the power of that opening. When we finally got an actual master grade, it wasn't even the Wing Zero, it was the Proto Zero, which is a different mobile suit. Or should I say different version of the mobile suit. So what are you meant to do when you want the awesomeness from that intro? Well, I guess maybe, just maybe, this right here will do it. Now I've taken a look at a few of these very recently, most of which have been from Iron-Blooded Orphans, and each one of them has been so impressive, so hopefully this one will be too. I mean, the face from the blast-off at the beginning of that anime is right there on the front of the box, so what can I say? Let's bust this thing open and see what we've got. But before we actually do that, I will mention this is a very expensive figure, so this video was sponsored by Skillshare, the online learning community with thousands of online classes and members across 150 countries. 2022 will be the 10th anniversary of my channel, and this year I plan to improve my content and make it better than ever. And with some great tips and tricks I've learned off of Skillshare to tackle my biggest obstacles, that's lighting and photography, so far I've been moving closer and closer towards that goal. And right now, you can too. If you're looking to improve your own videos or to get started on your own YouTube journey, then YouTube Success Script, Shoot, and Edit with MKBHD will give you everything you need to know and more on how to start a review YouTube channel the right way and make professional quality videos right out the gate. So what are you waiting for? Get started on your own content journey today with Skillshare, and the first 1,000 people to use the link in my description box or my code Mecha Gaikotsu will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So now jumping straight on into the aesthetics, as usual with that full 360-degree spin. Now, this is an absolute, well, beauty of a figure right here. First off, this is 100% the Wing Zero through and through. All the detail you want to see is here. When it comes to the colors, this has so much going on. The white is separated into a white and a light gray. All of that is in matte. The red segments on this are matte too, and then we've got some parts that pop against that, including a metallic gold, super glossy blue, a nice gray on the hands and various detailed parts, and then some awesome aspects like the clear gem in the chest, which has some detail underneath it, and the actual die-cast parts that are used in the build of this, like you can see up on the arms connecting the wings as well as in the elbows there. The metal has that completely unmistakable glint of real metal. Without a single doubt, this is an absolutely gorgeous detailed figure. Now let's take a bit of a closer look. So first up, I'm going to ask the important question, and that is, does this capture the majesty of the intro? So I'm not going to tell you if it does or not. I'm just going to throw the face up on one side of the screen, the intro on the other side, and you can decide yourself or not whether or not this looks like we would have seen back in, I don't know, quarter of a century ago. So whether or not it actually resembles that awesome intro or not, this head looks phenomenal. We've got some great detailing, including the 2 shades of white on the big old Gundam ears, and the way the eyes and the head cameras catch the light is quite good when you have it angled just the right way. The most eye-catching parts of this figure, which is eye-catching enough as it is that beautiful gem in the chest. Now, I've seen this done quite a few times on a lot of different versions of Wing, but this one right here just catches the light in the nicest possible way. We've got great gold around that as well, and underneath that we have a whole lot of detail that just looks incredible. And also adding to the real premium feel of this figure, we do have a lot of very nice and completely crisp decals all over the place. And a lot of the detail on these, like the writing right here in the front skirting, is so detailed but at the same time crisp as crisp can be. Zoom in on in there and you're not even going to see an imperfection. That is nice. These can be found all over the figure, some subtle red ones here and there on the limbs, on the wings. The red ones on the wings aren't subtle, those are really cool, and these do really add a very nice extra dimension to the look of this. There's a whole host of awesome detail all over this. Attention to detail has been given to absolutely everything. Inside of the thrusters have been painted a darker color to make them pop. All of the detail looks spectacular, and we even have some nice opening gimmicks all over this, which we might as well take a look at right now. So one of the most obvious opening aspects on this are the wing binders. They just pop open like so. They feel nice and tight in just the right kind of way. And of course we've got some great detailing inside of there as well. We've got some opening covers in the bottom of the chest here. They pop open like so and like so. And once again we do have some very nice detail painted inside of that. But to me, my personal favorite moving gimmick on this are the machine cannons up on the shoulders. These actually rotate and flip out like this. This is so cool. Once again, these are in a nice gunmetal, very nicely detailed, very nicely molded, and they look phenomenal. Honestly, on the whole, this thing looks absolutely ridiculously good. And to answer the question that I did pose earlier on to you guys, do you think this looks as awesome as it did back in that intro over a quarter of a century ago? Well, I would say it most certainly does. Let's check out what it comes with. So now jumping into the accessories, and here is the Metal Robot Spirit's Wing Zero with absolutely everything that it comes with. And once again, just like with all of these, we get quite a bit, including a stand and a whole bunch of weapons and a whole bunch of hands. Let's check it all out. So first up in here we do have the full base and stand. This is the same as we see in all of these as far as I know. I will mention this right here is a bit of a fingerprint magnet, so be careful. You do need a little bit of an adapter to attach onto the Wing Zero. It holds on quite well, and this isn't really going to be going anywhere on you, but when you're posing it, it can pop off every now and then, so be careful. So first up in here, let's talk a little bit about the hands. When it comes to the fixed pose ones, they're just for nice poses. So first up, we do have a pair of fists. These have been on it the entire time so far. The second pair of hands then we have in here is this widespread pair of hands that's in a very nice pose. I will mention that these are very human looking, not the usual kind of manipulators we'd see. This almost has a fully human looking palm. That is definitely a unique set of hands. Anyway, as for swapping these out, it's very simple. You just pop off the one that you want. The ball joint is actually in the arm, and then you pop the one that you want to reattach on like so. I will mention they are a little tight at first, so we'll take a little bit of loosening up. Jumping straight on into the weapons now, and first up we've got a pair of beam sabers. These have a kind of beam that isn't like gunpla, so this isn't soft, it's good and hard, so it's not likely to bend on you. The handle on these are very small, but they are nicely detailed. I will mention the beam does not glow under black light, which is very sad. Attaching this is the usual simple routine. Just throw on the hand for holding onto it, which is a simple holding hand, pop it into the hand like so, and there's an example of what it looks like in a pose holding onto it. This is such a fun figure to pose. It looks phenomenal. I mean, just look at all the detail on the wings, the way they spread out, the pose in this. It's beautiful. As usual with Wing Zero, when these are not in use, you can just pop off the handle, and then we can store these inside the shoulders just by opening that up like that. There's a little peg inside there. This can be a little tough to do, so gonna send that in there with the pliers, and then you can just close that up and it's stored in the shoulder. Next up in here we have both of the twin busters, and once again these have the same level of detail as the rest of the figure itself. These are incredible. Like I mentioned, we do have two. That is the left one and the right one. We've got decals on these as well, and one of the coolest aspects about these is there's a locking mechanism for the handle. So this handle cannot move when this is in place, but you can slide this ever so slightly like so to allow this to be put in and under just like that. How cool is that? On this side then we do have the flip out segment, that little peg right there. This is on both, and we've one up in the front as well. It pops out like that, which allows both of these twins to combine together into the one obscene rifle. And I don't know about you, but I've always loved this variant of the Buster rifle above them all. Wait, they click, and they hold together absolutely perfectly. Beautiful. Attaching these is exactly the same as attaching the beam sabers, but we use a different hand with a trigger finger. You can attach them in both hands individually or together just like this right here. This is one huge, impressive looking beam rifle. I suppose it's not a beam rifle. It's the ridiculously over-the-top twin buster rifle, and it looks absolutely perfect. Same amount of detail, and attention to detail as we would have seen on the mobile suit itself. Next up in here we've got the shield, just once again as beautiful as the mobile suit itself. The white is split up into grey and white. The little Vulcans on the side there in a nice gun metal. Actually had to check them twice to make sure they're not actually die-cast metal. They look so good. And we've got a nice clear part in the end there that will be stealing the show once we actually get this transformed. And speaking of the transformation and all of that, we might as well move into the articulation. Oh yeah, this attaches via a very secure little peg segment right into the back of the arm. That's how that attaches, and it looks beautiful. So jumping into the articulation, and this thing is rock solid, I'll mention first. And the second thing I'll mention is this is so detailed, I might have to kind of blast through everything and give a kind of gist, as opposed to every single point of articulation. At the neck here, it does seem like those flying poses, all the way down, very nice. There it is, side to side, feels like it can go all the way around, and we've got the usual tilt there as well. We've got some nice articulation in here, which allows the torso to move forward ever so slightly, just like that, to change the angle of the arm. Doesn't seem to move all that much, just enough. We've got a full arm shoulder roll right here. The arm can move forward and back at that point like so. The shoulder armor is separate, it can move up like that. There is the arm up as far as it will go. Up here, which is for putting the beam sabers in. A bit more than that, but the shoulder's getting in my way, and oh, I lost a hand. And speaking of the hand, this is